Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Brittany. I'm a part of Leveled Women, a nonprofit organization aimed toward women growth, empowerment, and education. Today I'm going to be talking about some ways to become more emotionally healthy as leveled women. I recently turned 36 and I made a reel on the Leveled Women Instagram as well as a YouTube short, just going over some things, some takeaways that I've learned while reflecting on my 36 years of living. And in that video, I really had an opportunity to sit back and really think about some things that have helped me become more leveled, more empowered, more emotionally healthy. And I decided to create a video to kind of go over that aspect a little bit. So, being emotionally healthy doesn't mean that you won't have days where you're sad. Doesn't mean that you won't have times when you're angry. It doesn't mean that every day is going to be perfect for you. It does not mean that at all. But it does mean that we understand who holds the power and how we are in control of what we allow to stay in our lives, what we allow to come into our lives, and how we are going to create the future that we want to live. Okay. And so, the first thing that I want to talk about is emotionally healthy women understand that we have control over our emotions. So that doesn't look like, again, going through life thinking that everything's perfect or ignoring certain feelings, but it does mean that when we have certain feelings that aren't necessarily satisfactory, we're looking at what caused them. We're making tough choices as to if we need to remove ourselves from certain environments, from certain relationships, certain jobs, certain business ventures. And we're having the courage to do that. We're also realizing that we have the power to implement tools and strategies to aid in how we feel about certain scenarios. So, I rarely have bad days. I may have moments during my day that are not satisfactory. But even with those moments, I like to challenge myself and look at, why am I feeling this way right now? What caused this feeling? And what can I do to turn this around? What did I learn from it? One thing that has really helped me is just looking at certain scenarios that arise, and if I don't like the scenario, vowing that I'm not going to put myself in that same situation, but then also looking for the lesson, okay? What did I learn from this scenario? What did I gain from it? The Bible talks about all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. That's one of my favorite verses because it really emphasizes the fact that no matter what you go through, it can all be turned around for your good. And so I look for the lesson, I look for the good, and any of my adversities and any of the negative experiences that I've had, I learn from it and I grow from it. I used to give away a lot of my power. I used to just, if someone did something to make me upset, I would be upset for the entire day. I would hold grudges, and it really impacted me. I realized that I would be walking around feeling heavy, feeling anxious, feeling upset, feeling discouraged. And that person, I don't know what they were feeling, but a lot of times it looked like they were just living their best lives. They were happy. And then sometimes when I even got into communication with that person again, they had forgotten what I was holding on to for years. They're like, oh, I forgot that even happened. So they were living life free of any type of shame or any type of guilt or any type of pain in relation to what I was holding on to. And I'm like, you know what? The only person that this harmed was me. And I allowed it to continue to harm me for so long. And, we're not even going to go into the scientific disadvantages of doing that. The hormones that are released into your body, the chemicals that are released into your body, how it affects your hormones, the thought processes that you have, how holding on to grudges affects your thinking, and really just how it negatively impacted my life. So now I do my best to forgive. I do my best to learn my lesson. I do my best to take control of how I'm going to allow certain things to impact me and for how long, and what I'm going to do moving forward. So just realizing that I have the power to change how I feel. I have the power to change my environment. I have the power to dictate how my day goes and ultimately how my future is going to be. Next thing that I have learned in becoming more emotionally healthy is learning how to set boundaries. I mentioned that birthday reel where I was just giving out my reflections of 36, my 36 years of living. And one of the things that I mentioned in that reel is that my grandmother used to always tell me no is a complete sentence, and it really is. You don't always have to give a reason for your no. You don't have to always follow up and make sure someone agrees with how you feel or with your no. And so I've realized that setting healthy boundaries has really helped me become become more peaceful and more intentional in the kind of life that I'm looking to create. So I've been saying no a lot more without feeling guilt. I used to, when I was younger, find myself being what a lot would call a yes man. I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, so I would preserve other people's feelings above mine. I would make sure other people were comfortable above my comfort. I would make sure other people were happy and kind of push my happiness down. So I would do all of this in hopes of keeping relationships, in hopes of not hurting anyone's feelings, like I mentioned. And all in all, it had a negative impact on me. I would find myself losing my voice in certain scenarios. I would find myself not really being happy, not really wanting to be in certain places, but just not having the courage to leave. And so one thing that has made me more emotionally healthy, like I mentioned, is just setting healthy boundaries. If I don't want to do something, I'm not going to do it. If I don't feel like I'm talking to someone or doing a certain task or affiliating myself with a certain mission or group that doesn't align with my beliefs, I'm going to set boundaries and say, you know what, this is not for me. That has created more peace in my life, that has created more intentionality, and that has created a more fulfilling life for myself. Also, one thing that I have realized as well that has helped me become more emotionally healthy is not chasing validation. So I'm no longer looking for people's validation. You know, it's great to have people validate you. It's great to have people give you compliments and, affirm different things that you're thinking. However, you can do that yourself. You can give yourself the validation that you're needing. You can get validation from the Word of God. You can get validation from people that love you, your family members, your friends. And if all else, like I said, you can do it yourself. So just kind of taking back that power and not giving so much of my power away. Even if no one validates me, I'm not gonna crumble. You know what I mean? Like, I'm able to give myself the validation. That's why I think words of affirmation are so important. And I get up every day doing my words of affirmation just because I want those words to stay with me. I want to live my life knowing that, okay, Brittany, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are created in God's image. You are smart. You are loving. You are resilient. You are beautiful. Giving myself the affirmation that I need. So I'm not waiting on anyone else to do it. If they do, great. But if they don't, I still have given myself what I need. And so I'm not thirsty for likes on, Instagram. I'm not going to do things that don't resonate with who I am just because I want to be validated. I'm going to be able to stand up and say, no, this doesn't align with me, and I have what I need. Okay, so again, just kind of taking back that power. Also, being able to process your feelings and your emotions. One thing that I did to help process my feelings and emotions is I got into therapy. I started speaking with a therapist regularly. I started just being able to express how I feel and kind of work through some of the feelings that I've had for years. And I really felt a weight lifted. Actually doing the work. There would be assignments that my therapist would give me. I was in cognitive behavioral therapy. And there would be challenges that he would give me, and we would kind of just write down some of my thoughts and some of my feelings and, what triggered some of my emotions and really work through them. It really, really helped. If any of you are interested in therapy, I will try to find the link and link it down below. But don't be afraid, get into therapy. I also journal. I also read. I just, whatever I can do to kind of express how I'm feeling and work through my emotions and really kind of think through them. Even if it's not necessarily talking about them, even if it's not necessarily writing, sometimes I draw. Sometimes I'll just go out and I'll exercise and I'll use my body as like art to kind of just get out my emotions. And, I joined Pilates. So just figuring out creative ways that work for you that allow you to really process your emotions. That's going to help you become emotionally healthy as well. And now also choosing relationships carefully. I have been divorced for about 4 or 5 years at this point. And one thing that I've noticed when trying to date is I'm very, very, I don't want to say picky, but I'm intentional on who I allow in my space because I have experienced so much in my life that I'm really, really careful on what type of energy, what type of people, what type of experiences I allow into my life, okay? And so if I notice something doesn't align with me, it doesn't take me years to say, you know what, this isn't going to work. It doesn't take me years to realize that I'm not in place. It doesn't take me years to realize that I don't feel comfortable. And so I've just been very intentional on what kind of relationships, whether that be romantically or even friendships, what kind of friends am I allowing near me? What kind of friend am I being? What kind of people am I attracting just generally? And that has really helped me be more emotionally healthy too, just by allowing myself to vet properly and saying no to certain relationships, friendships, family ships, romantic relationships that don't serve me or that don't align with the woman that I am and the woman that I'm becoming. Another thing that I wanted to mention is practicing self-awareness. So I've mentioned that throughout this entire video, just realizing that I have the power, we have the power to control how we process our emotions. We have the power to decide who we allow in our lives, who we kick out of our lives, what types of things we fill our days with, how we're going to process through our emotions and our pain. And that's just practicing self awareness. So when something happens during your life that you're not happy with, instead of dwelling on, okay, this made me upset, let's focus on, well, why did it make me upset? And how can I make sure this doesn't happen? And the best way that I can, how can I make sure that, or try to make sure that I lower the chances of this happening again? And kind of just reflecting on, well, did I have a part in this scenario? What was my part? And what do I need to heal from to not allow these certain scenarios to happen again, or these certain people to come into my life, or me to do whatever I did to participate in this type of experience. So just really being self-aware and asking ourselves questions and kind of going internally for the answers, going to God for the answers instead of needing the validation and needing the answers from other people that may not have the best answers and may not have our best intention. And then also one thing that I've reiterated in this video too is learning that forgiveness is wisdom. Because like I mentioned, when I used to hold so much of like grievances and grudges toward people and a lot of animosity and anger, it really just hurt me. And I realized that through wisdom, through, living, through getting connected with God, that vengeance is God's. I don't even have to worry about how God is going to teach other people their lesson, what's going to happen in someone else's life. And it really started to change my heart where I didn't even want to see people that did me wrong suffer. Like there used to be a point in my life, a part of me where if someone did something wrong to me, I'm like, okay, I can't wait till they get what's coming to them. And then I started really feeling bad. I'm like, I feel bad that you're this kind of person that's okay with treating people this way, but that's not my pole to carry. I also feel bad that you did this to me. I feel bad for myself. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm focusing on me. I'm going to make sure that I'm keeping you in prayer, that I'm keeping myself in prayer, and I'm going to allow God to truly deal with that, and I'm going to release it because I want to make sure that I'm living the best life that I can live without having any of that negative energy attached to me. So I've learned to forgive. Emotionally healthy people have learned, a lot of them have learned to forgive. The art of forgiveness will really set you free. I'm not harboring any anger toward anybody. There's been a lot of people that have done things in my life that I have not been okay with, that have hurt me. And I have truly come to a point in my life where I have forgiven everyone. I don't have any ill will, any grudges toward anybody. I use everything as a learning experience to continue my leveling up journey. Also, another thing that has really helped me in my emotionally healthy journey is not comparing myself. So, leveled women realize that our job is not to compare with our sisters leveling up. We don't have to say, well, she's doing this. Why am I not doing this? She's better than me. Why? Realizing that we all have a specific important role. We all were created uniquely different with a different purpose for a reason. And so realizing that everyone's beauty complements everyone. Everyone's journey can complement everyone's journey, and looking at our sisterhood as a sisterhood instead of a competition, okay? And I used to talk a lot about this when I used to do a lot of my entrepreneurial talk, and I still do a lot of entrepreneurial talks on my other channel here on YouTube at Brittany Bundles if you ever are interested in going over to my other channel. But just realizing that I'm not in competition with anyone. The only person I'm in competition with is myself. I want to be a better version of Brittany than I was yesterday. I want to be a better version and more leveled version of Brittany than I was 10 years ago. And so every day I'm just working on becoming closer to God. I'm working on becoming more emotionally healthy. I'm working on becoming more financially stable. I'm working on becoming more educated. I'm working on improving my health. I'm working on improving my mind state, my thinking, my thoughts. I'm working on improving my communication skills. I'm just working so much on improving myself that I don't really have the time to look and see and compare with anyone else. I'm honestly just too busy becoming my best self to worry about what anyone else does in comparison to what I do. Okay. Also, another thing that I have realized in becoming emotionally healthy is you have to keep growing, keep challenging yourself, keep finding different things that interest you. I enrolled back into school a few years ago. I'm in school for psychology, and I've just really been enjoying learning, just learning something new every day, challenging myself, getting back in the groove of just learning, taking tests, doing assignments, collaborating and working on group projects. And it feels really, really good. Like I mentioned, getting in therapy, talking my feelings out with someone that's actually licensed and trained to really help see progression and some of the things that I'm working through. I'm finding a good mentor, finding good people to connect with, other women that are positive, other women that are successful, achieving certain things that you may want to achieve. Just connecting and finding different circles that really serve you is really going to help. It's helped me a lot. And then protecting my peace. Once I've started doing the work, I'm going to therapy, getting back in school, doing my words of affirmation, getting closer to God. I'm creating this lifestyle intentionally, and I'm going to make sure that I guard who I allow inside of it. I'm going to protect my peace like I've never protected it before. Okay. And that has helped me with my emotions as well. And that's helped me become more leveled. I really thank you all for listening to this video and staying to the end. If you made it to the end, be sure to just comment in. Just let me know that you did make it to the end. Also, if you have any advice or any comments at all to share with our community on becoming more leveled, please do that. We are a no judgment community, and we want to help everyone that we can. And in return, we learn from each other. So share your thoughts. This platform is yours as well. Be sure to subscribe to our Instagram at Leveled Women if you have not done so already. I would truly, truly appreciate that. And let's spread the word. Share this video with someone that you know. And until next time, be sure to stay leveled. I will talk to you on the next video. Bye.